everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Melanin Muses podcast. I am Cleo.
And I'm Kelly.
And today we have a very, very special episode. We have a new guest with us. And this is the very first episode that we have a guest and both of us on it. It's a monumental episode. I'm super excited. And our guest has just some awesome, dope stuff to share with us today. And I'll leave that for Callie to explain in a second. But just so y'all know, if you want to hear more, things don't have to end here today. Be sure to follow us on our YouTube and subscribe and hit the notification bell and all that jazz, but also hit follow on all the platforms that you listen to your podcast, because we got some dope stuff coming up and we want to share it with y'all. So on that note, Callie, please let us know who you have brought to the episode today, because I'm so excited because y'all, I don't know much about him, but I'm curious to know.
And see, that is all part of the magic today, folks. Today, I have brought Mr. Greg. He is the co-founder of Urban Jedi Knights. Now, let's ask him a few questions so he can help us to get to know what the mission is, how Jedi Knights present themselves, and what awesome and fun things are in store for those of you who follow. Greg, take it away.
Awesome. Well, thank you for such a lovely introduction, Miss Callie. It is my utmost pleasure to be here with you guys today. Thank you so much for having me. So as the co-founder of Urban Jedi Knights, aka UJK, that's what we go by on the social media handles. I'm responsible for the script writing and filming of our YouTube series, and it's basically just a modern take on what everyone knows and loves as the Star Wars universe. We like to play around with the tagline of Star Wars that naturally says a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, but our version is right around the corner, kind of like last week. So just running with that, just imagine how it would be to see Jedi and Sith just on your block, in your neighborhood, on the news even, just fighting in the middle of the street, or just settling citywide disputes as though they were the authority of the time. So that's a really fun space to work in, and it's actually a great pleasure to work alongside Miss Callie too. She's a member of our group, and so we're currently teaching choreography and building all of our resources for our film series. We're also currently looking into getting into teaching a curriculum for some after-school programs in our city, possibly stretching that across the East Coast. But that's just a pretty quick rundown of what I'm into. So thanks again for all the lovely words, guys. Hello.
I'm looking at Cleo's face this whole time. It's just like blown away. It's amazing.
I'm literally like, that's so cool. No, like, but y'all don't understand. I've been so isolated from the nerddom. Like, just hearing this is just like, I miss my people.
We are here.
Like, that's so, like, okay. It's such a basic question that I'm sure you get all the time, but I have to ask. What motivated or inspired y'all to like create this group and to create this just such English is hard, but you know what I mean. What inspired y'all to like start this group and bring like so many people together to create this content? I'm so curious.
Thank you. Yes, it is a cool question I like to ask, and to keep it short, because it's a plethora of things that have inspired us over time. For the things that I'm responsible for, which is the writing, what's inspired me is like just the things that we've noticed were missing from the Star Wars universe, and the issue that was representation in the last iteration of the past 3 films that came out. So seeing John Boyega's character Finn just go through what he went through and like not have what I love is character growth. To see that not properly stretched out, it really inspired me to be like, you know what if that important question that's Disney and Marvel's asking so boldly lately, I asked that about 5 years ago now. How many years ago was it? Sheesh, a lot of years ago. And that from there we just started writing. But when it comes to like the choreography aspect of it, like a live action, the visceral, physical parts of it, the co-founder Devin Lockwood unfortunately couldn't be here. We both grew up like madly in love with the Star Wars franchise, and we were coming up when the prequel franchise was like just out and popping. like I want to say circa 2000, 1998 to 2005, right? And there's a move that like we didn't even know this when we became friends. We like studied this character for like our teenage formative years. And one day we were just hanging out and there was a random broomstick and Devin picked it up and like did like a Star Wars rotation with the broomstick. I'm like, yo, did you just do the Anakin thing? And he was like, yup. And it's kind of like what happened in Step Brothers was like, did we just become best friends? And like, yup. And so from there we just got to work and like it's hilarious, very humble beginnings. We started like play fighting with broomsticks. Grown men, we were like 24, 25, play fighting with broomsticks. And then I want to say a friend of ours came along and was like, guys, I have like an actual like lightsaber made by Ultra Sabers. Y'all should do this. And people like randomly showed up to our practice sessions and we apparently looked professional enough to be like, okay, let's make this a thing. And now here we are years later, having done several performances, different conventions, several commission gigs to come out to like professional events for corporate events and things. It's been a very dope road, but the inspiration has been my close friends' weird capability with the lightsaber or broomstick and just the lack of diversity. So, yep.
When Dev is available, we definitely have to bring him on because first I want to embarrass him a little bit. Like I like putting him in front of cameras because I'm like, Dev, absorb all of this positive energy, buddy. Yes. Come on. But also I feel like the two of you are such a dynamic duo. As a person who has begun training with the two of you, it's an amazing thing to watch. I wasn't there for the humble beginnings, but I'm definitely there for more of the tail end of it. And just for those of you who don't know, lightsaber work is hard. Like it's really hard. So watching these two work their magic just and vibe off of one another is a sight to behold. So if you get a chance, if you're at any upcoming conventions that UJK is featured at, I encourage you to attend, just so you can see the spectacle and the magic for yourself.
Way to sell it. Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely. And despite the difficulty, you've taken to it like a fish to water. So he's gonna leave that there. You're a great student.
I gotta see this, Callie. I ain't seen none of the video or nothing from this. I ain't. What?
It's a secret. You'll see it later. It's a secret.
Girl, we about to fight. Okay. All right, because if y'all have lessons, because I'll be back in Philly in 5 months, so I might need to pop in and be like, yeah.
I like that. Yes. Mm-hmm.
For y'all listening on like Spotify or something like the audio, I'm glad y'all didn't see my attempt at swinging the lightsaber.
It's a flawless form. It was flawless form. She did great, guys. She's great.
I feel like I'd be the first to die. Like if there was ever something going down, like y'all just leave me behind because I'd be the first to die. Like I mean, y'all be like, how'd you die? I'm like, I tried to swing a lightsaber and I killed myself. I would probably be that person. I'm just purely not maybe, but that's like that's so dope. Like this all started just from like kicking it with your friends, and I'm not gonna lie, I haven't seen Star Wars.
Oh man, it's okay. It's okay. I get that.
I'm sorry. I know I'm familiar with. All right, to kind of make this better, I'm familiar with the characters.
Okay.
But I just haven't watched it. But if for someone who hasn't watched the series and is not completely familiar, what are some basic like? I don't want to say tips, but what are some like? What's the lowdown of things you would say to someone who hasn't watched it but is curious into getting into the fandom? What are some things you would have for that?
Okay, so I personally struggle with being long-winded, so feel free to stop me. And Star Wars is such a rich universe of things, so if I could like filter it down. I've done this before too, by the way, so it should be natural by this point. But I'd say the biggest thing about Star Wars, for me anyway, I go to Star Wars for the lore and like the background information and like the philosophy that's in it when it comes to how one deals with emotions and how that can manifest in a character's power. Star Wars is all about the Force, kinda, for some people. For me, it's all about the Force. And the Force is broken down as like there's a balance. The Force is a perpetual balance. It's a life energy that exists in all things, from this table that I'm sitting at right now to my hands. Different like attire can bear the energy of the Force. Like the Force is in and with all of us. It's around us. It binds us. But then there's the dark side of the Force. The dark side is just you basically corrupting like what's a natural resource and corrupting it to your own will. And usually, traditionally, it's being bent towards a more darker emotion. The stronger the character is in the dark side, the more they're relying on their negative emotions of hatred and just malice and things like that. So yeah, that's like a super raw baseline to start at, because there are some characters, not everybody can like harness the Force, but everyone is submerged in the Force. So yeah, and it takes a lot of I jump to Dragon Balls even I'm trying to break down characters' power levels and stuff. So it's like, if let's say I was a regular dude in Star Wars, right? I couldn't use the Force at all. Like, let's say that's like a baseline of like a 2, like a power level of a 2. But then you got somebody like Darth Vader, who's like super duper husky in the dark side, but because of issues with his body, the reason why he uses these mechanical limbs and stuff like that, after all the wear and tear to his body, he's probably at like an 80,000. So a regular dude, 2, Darth Vader, 80,000. So that's just to put it into a slight perspective. So that's why he can like pick up people and ragdoll them in the Force and stuff like that. So yeah, I go to it for that. I love seeing how the Force just builds, and it's such a rich environment for like imagination. There are like new Force powers being written about like even today. In the comic series, I think there was a new Force power that I think Luke may have just used. Don't quote me on it, but I have a thing that I'm subscribed to on YouTube, and it just updates me weekly. So yeah, good side, bad side, dark side, light side, Jedi versus Sith. And fun fact, I'm the villain of the series. I'm the Sith guy who does bad things.
Yes, it's fabulous. I'll let Greg explain his dark side character, but I'm gonna tell you right now, that also counts as kind of the heartthrob of the series.
What?
So just keep an eye on that one. Keep an eye on it.
I can see it. Like, if you would have said you were a good guy, I'm like, are you sure? you decked out and like, I'm gonna be like you were saying, Callie, I'm gonna be the bad guy heartthrob. Excuse you.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I can see this. So, and I'm curious, Callie, like your experiences with the group. Like, I would like to know like your perspective, because we hearing his perspective. I'm starting to get a little know about what you about, but now I need Callie to start airing out the dirty laundry. What's your experience?
Wow. So I'm gonna say, just from a team perspective, they're so much fun to work with. Without giving away too much, Greg and Dev are goofy.
Yes,
they're goofy,
ridiculous.
but they're also incredible hard workers. So when I tell you these mamma jammas were out in the heat of the summer practicing for hours. Cleo, you know how hot it gets during the summer over here. And you see what he's wearing? He's wearing that in training in the summertime for hours, doing all those quick movements and strikes and jumps and flying. There's a lot that happens, and the dedication and level of commitment that the two of them have put toward making this dream a reality is awe-inspiring, just to be frank. I've only been a part of the team for a short amount of time, so I haven't gotten to see the growth that's occurred, but it was, let's just say, my urge to join the team was based solely on the energy that the two of them were giving off. It's kind of like, I need to be in here. Whatever this is, I need to be in it because this is great. And I just give it. So that's part of my Force sensitiveness, is the Force is strong with both of them.
Thank you. I'm going to cry right now. Wow. Thank you. Well said. Thanks.
I love that you incorporated the Force is strong with these ones. I see what you did there, Callie. No, like I love how you said that when it came to like the energy they give off. Like, even though we're just like, this is the first time we're meeting and it's via camera, like I can feel the energy coming from like your personality. I'm just like, I want to be your friend. like, you seem pretty dope. And like, just you
Already
talking
here.
about your project is just like, you can see the passion that you have for it. Because you know, there are some people who talk about things they do, like, yeah, my job's cool, and they hate what they're doing, and you can see it in their features. But like, when you talk about this, like, you can see the passion. You can, like, even hearing it, even if I don't see you and I turn my camera off, I turn the screen off, like, I can hear the passion in your voice that you have for this project, and it's very infectious.
Thank you.
And I think that's something that many people don't realize is the energy you give off or put into a project is what can make or break what you do. Because if you don't love it, if you don't have a passion for it, why would someone else want to do it with you? And I think that's something like, this is a big example of, if you love something enough, you can do something with it. And that will like inadvertently inspire other people to join what you're doing. And you don't have to be like, beg you, come join me in my thingy. They'll be like, no, I see how much you love this. I see why you love it. I want to be a part of it. Just like Callie said, like, I saw this energy, I have to be a part of it. So like, and y'all making me want to come too, but like, yo, is there a spot for me? I want to see.
It's an infectious energy, and it's funny you say that, because we're supposed to start casting very soon for upcoming episodes. That's actually a responsibility that both me and Miss Callie are going to embark on once we make sure that episode 1's taken care of and it's moving along more smoothly. But it's funny that you mentioned the infectious energy, because that's actually something that I was just talking about with a friend of mine, just a new friend too. Was playing PlayStation with with a bunch of friends from college, and there's this new guy who randomly came in our chat, and it was like, he was pretty like you know, just trying to feel everybody out, kind of new dude, hadn't really heard about me and my friends, and we're kind of weird, kind of super weird. So so along the way, somebody said something about the Urban Jedi thing, and they said it just like that, the Urban Jedi thing. And I'm like I started talking about it and just the plans that I'm personally working on to just make things bigger in like what's usually the off season. And the dude was like, wait a minute, hold on, we're not just going to be casual about that. What are we talking about here? And from there, like, he felt more comfortable in the chat to let me know that he had been to BlurredCon and he heard about us. And I'm just like, brother, welcome to the fold. Now we're friends. Here we are. Now we're two. And he apparently does a lot of like nerd hip hop stuff. And so now we have a whole network, a new person added to our network that wants to work with us moving in the future, because we were just talking, exchanging ideas for hours. So that's how it works. It's like dominoes.
That's so dope. And like, and I like that you mentioned BlurredCon as well, because I have never been there, but Callie has mentioned to me, she's like, oh, you should go to BlurredCon. And that's just due to like past experiences of like being bullied for being a nerd and not really being supported in my my fascination with nerddom. Like, that's what inspired me to be an artist, as well as I've always been interested in like drawing animation. At one point I wanted to be an animator. I was interested in cosplay, but not having the support system around me, it just pretty much is like, oh, this is stupid, you're not Black, you're just trying to be Asian, all, you know what I mean? That kind of like made me avoid watching anime from having so much slack about it. And only recently have I been able to actually get back into animation and my love for it and getting back into my art. And it's interesting because, especially being a person of color, I feel like it's even harder for us to explore these different avenues, especially in the nerddom, because it almost seems like it's not meant for us. And I've been looking through like TikTok and seeing all these wonderful Black cosplayers, and they talk about the hate they get.
Yes.
Just from being a Black cosplayer. And if you don't mind, I'd love to like hear your thoughts and your experiences of like, how do you navigate that, especially being a person of color, and then on top of that, being part of the nerddom, and then building such a wonderful thing. But of course, there's probably going to be people who are like, well, what are you doing? Like, how do you navigate that, if you don't mind talking about it?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of experience there. Well, unfortunately for the subject, but fortunately for me personally. But like in moments where, you know, I hear about other people's stories, to me, it's like when one of us is just approached on that type time, we all are, because it could be any of us, honestly. So I've got a lot of friends that are prominent in that walk in the cosplay community. And to see them deal and navigate with some of the things they do with such grace most of the time, it's very interesting to me. Bless you, saw you sneeze. Uh, um, I guess, and I feel like it's if it does happen to me, it might be unfortunately because I've been almost desensitized to it. The bulk of my life has been very interesting in how like racial issues have just like impacted me. It used to happen repeatedly very early in my life. And just like having a very strong family support system that was like, well, you ain't nobody's fool and none of what anybody's saying is true. So just make your own name, just keep fighting. Like no one's gonna be as much of like who you can be as much as you can. So just give the world that. You know, if they don't like it, they don't. If they do, they do. But count it all joy. And I like really committed that last part to heart. And in fact, the gentleman that I was just telling you about in that anecdote that I had about my PlayStation situation, I was explaining to him. He was telling me about how there was this guy who matched the description of a lot of bad people who just hate today. This guy really just destroyed this one song that he made that he put a lot of thought and energy into, and he was telling me about how that really impacted him. And I'm like, he just asked me a very similar question to you. And so I responded saying, once upon a time, we went viral in like 2017, 2018. My team's going to kill me for not knowing the exact date, but we went viral. John Boyega reposted a video of us fighting outside of the movie theater. Then Ludacris reposted it, and then it was taken up by Barstool Sports on Instagram, and all these different major names on Instagram. Thank you. All these different major names on Instagram reposted us, so we were doing numbers. A ton of people came and joined the Facebook community that we developed, and just joined our following on Instagram. But the comment sections were like dastardly, like they were saying some crazy stuff. And thank God for like me and my co-founders like relationships with like close friends and like our big social circles, because a lot of our personal friends flew into the comment section, was like, yo, leave them alone, like they doing this and this. That's Urban Jedi Knights, put some respect on their page, It was great. There was one friend who interviewed me years later and was like, yo, I remember one thing that happened that really inspired him. He said, he hit me up in my DMs when it was all happening, like it was a fervor on the internet, like we were just trying to just bring everything to where it needed to go. And he was like, yo, are you okay? I'm like, of course, I'm living the time of my life right now. He's like, yo, because they were saying some stuff about you, about your family, like they were saying crazy stuff. And all you did was you were just having the time of your life, it looked like in that video. And are you good? Because I'll pull up on anybody, I'm about that action. I'm like, listen, I'm like, Jay, listen, it's cool because at least they're talking about me. Like, at least they're talking about what we're doing. Like, now we have a foothold in their mind. Whether they like it or they hate it, they're going to tell somebody about it. They're already talking about it. This is great. This is good publicity because I know that what we're doing in the grander scheme of things is a very positive thing. It can inspire the mess out of a lot of people. So cool. They can hate if they want to. At least they feel something, in my Kanye voice. So that really resonated with him. And that's just the energy that I have towards any potential experience, any experience that's happened thus far. I wouldn't have even noticed if that was a thing. So
I'm telling you, that's the kind of stuff that's awe-inspiring, simply because, especially in today's community, when people try to build something new off of an existing franchise, most people know Star Wars. They're familiar with the logos, they're familiar with the characters, but UJK is creating a more or less a new world within the universe, and it's catering toward people that look like us. And I feel like that's awe-inspiring, just as you mentioned John Boyega when he stepped onto the scene when the new trilogy came out. I thought that was amazing to see a prominent Black character. I'm still greatly saddened that he didn't get more screen time and that the potential of his character wasn't built the way I believed it could have been. But this is why UJK is such an inspiration to me. It's because I feel like you guys can continue your own legacy off of what was started there. Even though you guys started yours beforehand, his screen time is a gateway for you guys to continuing a legacy that not only just UJK can utilize, but other Black creators or creators of color that want to make a name in a franchise that normally doesn't welcome us.
Definitely.
And it almost feels like, just from an outsider perspective, you're also like opening the door. It's like each person of color that's starting like along this journey is like opening the door for the next person of color to be able to engage in these activities, whether it's Star Wars based, whether it's another type of nerdom based, or whatever it is they want to do. It's almost giving them that validation and permission that, hey, I can do this too, because, oh, this person looks like me, because we don't have a lot of positive representation in the media, especially when it becomes the nerds. And it reminds me of, I saw this drawing back when Black Panther first came out, and it stuck with me to this day. And it made me cry when I first saw it. It was like, these two little kids, and it was a little boy, a little girl. They're both young Black children, and it was a movie poster of the Black Panther. It was like Black Panther and Shuri, I think it was, on the poster. And the little kids were pointing up, and like the little speech bubble said, "Oh, they look like me.
Oh,
I can be that too. I can be a superhero too." And it just made me, I was in tears, because I was just like, it doesn't really, I think we're just so, I guess I can say, whitewashed, in a sense of like a predominant amount of the movies that we retain, that we watch, or that are promoted, are those with Caucasian actors. And if there are those of us who are people of color, we're either the sidekick, or it's like one of the stereotypical dramas with like baby daddy drama, or baby mama drama, or hood or gangster and all this other type of stuff,
Or villain.
or villain. And it
Love
always,
interest.
love interest, or like in the interracial relationship situation, or drugs and all this other stuff. We are promoted in such a negative light in the mass media, when a lot of us consume TV and all of this and Netflix. So when we start seeing these messages, it's like programming us like this is all we're good for, is like these negative stereotypes. And I've seen that here in Korea as well, with my interactions with people, because immediately, and Callie knows this, just yesterday, I almost had a stalker situation. That's a whole different story. But this kid on the bus just showed me his phone, and it was like a picture of Africa. And that was his question: "Are you from Africa?" And I looked at him, and I'm like, "No, I'm from America." And it's like all the news that they're getting is the stuff that they get in the movies or the news. And the news doesn't always do things accurately.
True.
So it's just definitely put into perspective how important it is to have people like yourself to have this positive, beautiful outlet to show us that we're more than just a stereotype. We're more than just the guns and the drugs and all this stuff that the media is trying to say, well, you have to be this, or you're an outsider. And like, let me know like your perspective on this. I feel like even within our own community, we're so used to seeing this view of us that it almost subconsciously seemed to become our own identity as a whole. So the concept of even seeing any of us in a better position, it's almost like we get judged even more harshly by our own people for going into these avenues, because we're becoming different than what society's telling us to be. Like, what are your thoughts about that? Especially like some things that picked up, you're expanding more. Like, do you see that happening, especially within our own community?
Definitely, definitely. I actually had a very similar experience to what you mentioned. In 2010, or 2010, 2011, I went to Europe and I did a study abroad program in Croatia. And it's like no one any shade darker than them had existed there for like a very long time. A lot of their information on African American culture was 10 years behind. So I found that vastly interesting while I was over there. And I had dealt with some intense questions, and I think that also aided in like just like lessening the sensitivity that I had toward, because desensitivity isn't necessarily like a bad thing. It just like makes you less aggressive when you're hit with some stuff that you've never heard before. And we can have like an academic discussion about it. That's what I learned to do when in Rome, basically. But yeah, like that's definitely, it's something that we're trying to circumvent, because you won't see anything like super that terrible in like our stuff. Like we have swapped out a lot of the generic tropes of like, well, it's unfortunate it's generic now, like being the standard drug dealer, or just being like the gangster, the criminal, the thug like mentality. We've swapped that out for like, now it's like, if that's you, then you have a different kind of power. Like coming into that, it's still just like you're not. It's just really weird. And then you have some of us, some of the good guys, the protagonists that are like, now we're navigating spaces where we're basically the authority figures in a time where we have to look at police sideways now. So it's a terrible issue altogether, because it's just like now we have to deal with these like people creating these negative perspectives for us, but it's given us space to create and basically fight it in like a less terrible way. Like we can't meet that same energy. We don't have that. But what we can do is just be creative in the response. So that's what we're trying to do here. I like to tip and twist things like that and put it on its head. So yeah, it's that's where I'm at with it.
Oh, that's amazing. That's such an amazing answer, especially to wind down the episode too. Like, dude, I'm fangirling slightly, just a little bit, just a little bit.
Thank you.
But no, that's seriously, like, it's been such a pleasure, like, listening to your story and like your passion for this, and like just to end things on, I guess, on a English is hard. On a different note, to transition, there we go, to wind down, like, going forward, is there like, what are some things that you hope in the future for the Urban Jedi Knights, and like any last messages that you would like to give to those listening about, like, whether it is the community that you're building, any advice you would give to people, whether it's like starting their own thing or just more personal things about your community, or you know what I mean? Any last words that you want to give? Because I can't speak right now. You stolen my English language. Okay, anyway, talk. Bye.
I wish we shared that language. That'd be interesting. Yes, I'll try to keep it short. Basically, what I've learned in my path with Urban Jedi Knights is to just maintain courageousness. Be brave in every space that you're in, and own it. It's the most difficult thing for me to do, to deal with when it comes to navigating what we're doing, helming the ship that is Urban Jedi Knights. Sometimes it's like knowing that we're trying to transform an already built ship, and quite often that's essentially rebuilding a ship as it's already going. I hate that analogy, but that's something that you got to do. And there are days when I'm just like, man, it might not be words from like fans, peers, audience members, or whatever, but I'm just waiting to see like what Disney's gonna do. And I'm just like, should I, like, how am I gonna respond to that, as the writer and everything? So just to navigate that, like, I don't ever want to be stopped. I don't want to stop, because there are people who adore us. There are people who like love this idea, and we do it all for them. At the end of the day, and like 10% for us, because we're big kids. So just to be bold in those spaces for the people that like adore what you do, possibly more than you do. We are going into a season where we're going to be doing a lot of work with children, and that's very impactful to me. That keeps me going. So kudos to you as well for your work with children too. It just re-energizes, it charges you up sometimes, doesn't it? Because you're a teacher, so that might be a different kind of tax, and we probably have to see them like once a week. You got to deal with it every day. It's different, but God bless the kids. So that's where we're entering. And I guess lastly, I'd like to promote a little bit. Check us out on our socials, Instagram, Urban Jedi Knights. Miss Callie, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm terrible with this. This is usually Deb's thing. Urban
Jedi Knights PHL.
Wait, is that Instagram or Facebook?
Instagram.
One of the two. Yes, Instagram. If you want to see all the bad guy stuff that we're conjuring up, since I'm the Sith dude, the Sith face of the operation, check out at Darth Bellum on Instagram and on Twitter. Miss Callie also has her own personal character's Instagram, if you're more than willing to share that with the lovely people.
Tessa_Darksider. Tessa TESSA_DARKSIDER.
Ooh, most impressive. Well done. Oh man, now I gotta spell mine. It's at DARTHBELL as in Lawrence, U and M at the end as in Mary. So that's really us. I look forward to any other questions that anybody has for us. Feel free to comment, share, subscribe. Check us out.
Hey, oh, that's awesome. You guys were so thorough. And for you guys listening and not on YouTube, or you guys on YouTube, I'll put links in the description box below, so it'll make it easier for you guys to kind of just click and subscribe and check these guys out. Because like what they're doing is just freaking phenomenal. And I'm just so excited to have learned about it and to learn more about it later. And so I'm trying not to sneeze as I'm saying this. Sorry, y'all. Like I have allergies, and this whole time I've been like muting and just like achoo. But anyway, no, yeah, definitely check these guys out. What they're doing is just so phenomenal and such an inspiration and motivating me to like, yo, I need to get out there. Like, But no, yeah, check them out. We'll put all the information in the description box to make it easier for you guys to just click and go. Make sure you follow and subscribe to Urban Jedi Knights, and check out Callie's character as well. I think I've seen the pictures I saw your character, Callie. What? Yo, they are fire. I'm just like, who that? Is that Callie?
Let's just say the whole thing is you're not supposed to know it's me, but you'll know it's me if you know it's me. So yeah, if you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Perfect example. So on that note, guys, thank you for joining us for this like special. This is a really special episode. Like, thank you so much for joining us. Because this was so dope. It was so much fun. Definitely stick around, check us out in future episodes, and hopefully we can kidnap this one and bring him back again so we can pick his brain a little bit more. But y'all, thank you for joining us. Remember to like, subscribe, follow, you know the Johns, and we'll see you next time. This is Cleo.
And this is Callie.
And one more.
Oh, it's Darth Bellum. Greg, hi.
All right, see y'all.
Bye.